Morning. Happy Tuesday. Oh, I like the sunlight across my face. That's pretty cool. All right. So today is Tuesday. This is the 7th day of December and the 52nd episode of season 2 of the Be Your Own Hero show. Hero is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action and it works. And it works. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I am a professional creative, which means I do many different things. And I'm also the creator of what is now called the Hero Ministry Movement. And that's my effort to uplift and inspire the unhoused community through a number of different means, including my charity run, which just ended a couple of days ago. Oh, I'm sad to see it go. Anyway, quick disclaimers. I am not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor, so do your own homework, do your own research. Shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me the space and opportunity to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero. They are based in Denver, Colorado, so they're on Mountain Time. So early in the morning there in Denver. All right, check me out here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern, 8:45 a.m. Central, 7:45 a.m. Mountain Time. And if this show provides any value, please consider making a donation. The information is in the show link, the show notes underneath the show. All right. So all that said, shout out to the heroes in the chat. I see Gladys and Nan and Tim with the cup of coffee for everybody. All right. So a couple things to talk about. Let's jump into the Hero Ministry Movement news and do a little bit of a recap. So this is the charity run recap. Yesterday, if you saw Sit with Rev Melissa, you saw me discover in real time that I'd forgotten some details about my own charity run, which still boggles my mind. I actually did a post about it on Facebook this morning. I was like, how did I forget that? And I guess when you get caught up in something, you can get kind of tunnel vision. You can forget some details. But Reverend Melissa reminded me of some of the other iterations of this thing that has become a charity run. And so I just want to circle back to the numbers. The original goal was to run 30 days. I ended up running 187 consecutive days. The original goal was to run 30 miles. And I ended up running 522.6 miles. And the original goal was to raise $1,000, and I ended up raising more than $5,000. And also, the original goal was to donate to one nonprofit, and I ended up donating to 8. Okay, I was about to give away the next part, but let me not do that yet. That's a good segue into the next part. So if you saw the show yesterday, you saw me struggling over the messy math. I spent all morning struggling with those numbers all the way up until the show. Didn't even do my run, didn't do my morning practice. I was trying to get my head around the numbers. And, and I stumbled over it in the show. And I didn't feel exactly comfortable with it. I was trying to get comfortable with it, but I didn't feel exactly comfortable with it. I didn't calculate for credit card fees and some other small things. And so after the show, it was clear that my mom didn't feel comfortable with it either. And we sat here with pen and paper and calculators, and we sat here doping it out. And I am very happy to announce that my mom has decided to close the gap so that all 5 of the Fabulous 5 will get $1,000. So shout out to Mom for doing that. I'm gonna do the fireworks for Mom. Yeah, because that was my intention. My intention was for the Fabulous 5 nonprofits to each get $1,000, and I neglected to think, I need to set a goal of more than $5,000 because of credit card fees and transfer fees and all that kind of stuff. And so this closes the gap. Mom cut a check yesterday, and that check will enable all 5 of the Fabulous 5 to get $1,000 each. So yes, yes, we are fully funded and deep into the overflow now, deep enough into the overflow that all 5 of the Fabulous 5 can be funded fully. So again, shout out to Mom for doing that. Yeah, because that was the idea. So I have been able to donate to 8 different nonprofits, but these fabulous five that have been rocking with me throughout the charity run, that have been encouraging me and guiding me in the ways that they work with the unhoused, I wanted to do something special for them. So each of them is going to get $1,000. We're just waiting for the Pledge It system to reconcile itself and disperse the funds. And then I got mom's check, and we're going to add that, and everybody will get $1,000. So that's very exciting. And also, I had the other idea, brand new, just this morning, that I will, if you're interested, I will ask the Fabulous Five to pop into the show. Because now I got a half-hour show, so I could have each of the Fabulous Five pop in for a second or two for 5 consecutive days, and you can see and hear from them directly as opposed to pre-recorded. So let me know if you're interested in that. Just drop that in the chat and we can get that going. Okay, so that's very exciting. Next segment of the show is currently called Truck Drop Stories because as you know, if you've been following my story, at some point I started carrying a backpack in New York on my runs, and I would stuff the backpack with food, in items from my Amazon wish list, which is still up, by the way, like food, like tuna packets and clothes and other items that I thought might be helpful to the unhoused. And if I passed someone, I would try to give them out. So I've accumulated a number of what I call backpack drop stories. And here in Nashville, I didn't bring the backpack down because, you know, the airlines be charging for luggage these days. So I did not bring the extra backpack. But now I have leftover food and sundry items from the 4th annual Hoodies for the Homeless event, and they're in the truck that was provided to me by Nissan. So shout out to Nissan again for providing me with the Nissan Frontier. It's a pickup truck. It's got plenty of space in it, and it's very sexy. And it has been all the talk of the town. Do I have time for a Nissan story? Let me do a quick Nissan story real quick before I get back to the truck drop story. Okay. So I was driving around town and I was trying to manipulate the navigation. I wasn't sure where I was going. So I pulled into a parking lot basically I pulled into a parking lot. And then I was manipulating the navigation and I figured out where I was going. So I was turning around to get back out of the parking lot, and I saw a friend of mine. I was like, oh, so I flashed my lights and he waved and I came over. I drove over to chat with him. He was like, I knew that was you. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I knew that was you because I saw the truck on Instagram when you posted it. And ain't nobody in Nashville got a truck like that. It is a very fancy truck, sidebar. It's a very fancy truck. So when I saw that truck, I was like, that's got to be Sekou. That's got to be Sekou. And so as soon as you flashed the lights, I was like, yep, that's Sekou. So I thought that was pretty funny. So the word about the truck has gotten around. It is a very sexy truck. Check my Instagram if you haven't seen it yet. Okay, so back to the truck drop stories. Again, I've got snacks and stuff in the vehicle, and so I've been doing some truck drops here and there. So another quick story: there's a man who apparently stands at the exit of this shopping mall, and I saw him standing there with his cardboard sign, and I was actually not going that direction. I was cutting across to go a different way, but I saw him, and I pulled over, and he came over, and I gave him everything that he could take. And I think it's so funny how polite the unhoused are about not taking too much. They seem to have an understanding that this is what I'm doing, that I'm giving these items to other folks who are unhoused. Even though that I haven't said that, they seem to have an understanding of that. Or maybe they just, not wanting to take too much. So I thought that was very, very cool. That in that parking lot, I ended up giving to 3 different gentlemen. 2 were together walking through the parking lot earlier, and they got water. They started with water, and then they got other things and other things. As it became clear to me that they could take whatever they wanted, they got some more things and stuffed a few pockets and saved some stuff for later, as did this gentleman who was holding the sign. And after a while, I was like, okay, I think that's enough. And then after, it was like 4 and 1, and immediately after pulling out of that parking lot at the next traffic light, I saw a gentleman, and I saw that he got some leftover food from the car in front of me, and he seemed appreciative that everything that I had was still in the packages. So, brand new things. And so he got as much as he could carry and said, he thought that was enough. So that's a, multiple truck drop story in one. Okay, so I've also got a Hoodies for the Homeless story. So again, Saturday was the 4th annual Hoodies for the Homeless event. That was a significant interaction for me because it's the second Hoodies for the Homeless event that I've been involved in. The first one, the 3rd annual Hoodies for the Homeless event, is where I launched Hero Hoodies, which was just an embryo of an idea. And now a year later, it has become all these other things, including this charity run. And so it was important for me to be there. That said, there's so many stories. There's so many stories. It was such a dense day. Yesterday, if you missed it, I showed a slideshow and I talked about some of the stories that stood out for me. And here's another one. So I mentioned that my childhood friend Perry and I ran into each other since I've been in town, and she volunteered to come help me, and her help was significant. And at some point, we discovered that I had hero stuff, of course. I had brand new hero stuff. I also had a bag of used clothing that other people had donated. And so in that used bag, we discovered some bras. And Perry was like, "Oh, these will be great because women need bras." And I was like, okay. Like I was familiar with the feminine hygiene hygiene products. I don't know why I can't say that today. I was familiar with the feminine hygiene products because an unhoused woman in New York had asked me for some. And so I had added that to my Amazon wish list, and some of you sent me some of those, and I've been able to give those out. I hadn't really thought about bras, to be honest with you. And so that was new to me. So I was like, all right, I guess so. And then we were talking about that. And then soon thereafter, an unhoused woman came up and blew both of our minds. She said that she goes to this shelter and that's where she sleeps, but the shelter has been getting on her about not wearing a bra. They're saying you need to have a bra if you're going to be here. And I thought that was really interesting. I never would have thought of that. It never would have occurred to me. And she was like saying to them, "Yeah, but I don't have one. What do you want me to do? I don't have one." And so she was very excited that we had not many, but a few bras available. And she took what we had, and then, you know, Perry and I joked about maybe there needs to be hero bras or tank tops or something similar, something in that vein. And so maybe so. That's honestly something I never would have thought of. And every time I do an event like this, there's at least one thing that I never would have thought of that is brought to my attention. And that's why it's good to be in the space interacting with the people, because you learn things you just wouldn't know. Because when you're sitting at home thinking about what they need, there's no way you're going to think about the things that you will encounter in person. So anyway, that's my story from the event on Saturday, the 4th annual Hoodies for the Homeless event that was created by Project Love Strong. And if you watched yesterday, you saw some photos of me with the founder of Project Love Strong, Jay White, who has also been interviewed by Reverend Melissa. Okay, so that said, I want to do thank yous. I already shouted out my mom for closing the gap. Very appreciative of that. And now let's do the thank yous. I've been saving this up, but I'm gonna read the list of the people who have donated to the charity run. This is the list of the people who donated on Pledge It. There's a separate list I've got to compile from people who did other things, checks and Cash App and Venmo and all those other ways that they contributed. But this is a list that is generated by Pledge It, which is very handy. Okay, so that said, shout out to Dominique, to Lenora, to Ariel, to Nan, Diane, Margaretta, to Reverend Robert, to Keena, to Kelly. I am trying very hard not to sidebar because I have sidebar comments about all these names, but I'm going to keep it together and just read the list. Kelly, First Baptist Church as an entity made a donation. David, Lindsay, Tondi, Ramona. Ramona is the creator of Unhoused St. Louis, the founder of Unhoused St. Louis. My Aunt Dot, Vanessa, Stacy, Reverend Mel, Sim, Kevin, Marshall, Demetrius, no sidebars, Paul, cousin Paul, Jay, Fatima, Rosetta, Ken, Stan, Rishan, Dawn, Amelia, Mama Janet. I made a few donations myself. Fee King, Oh, I guess I should have been doing the last names all along. Sorry about that. I'll read the list again and do last names in another show. Russell, Tim, Jeremy, Carlton, Gladys, and Anna Maria. Okay, so again, I will do the list again with the last names. I'll add the other names to it, the Cash App, Venmo, checks, and other means of donating. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. We have met and exceeded our goal. And again, my mom has closed the gap, so all 5 of the Fabulous 5 will get $1,000 each. Okay, so it's 10 o'clock, so let's just reset the room. For those of you just joining us, the show is now a half hour long. We've been chatting for 15 minutes already. So tune in next time a little bit earlier at 9:45. And now we're moving into the money. So let's do the affirmation. Let's do the affirmation. I haven't done that in a minute. Let me find it. Here's our affirmation. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. Okay, so I'm not sure what I want to say about money today. So this is going to be a free flow money day. But there's a couple things top of mind. Yesterday, very briefly at the end of the show, I mentioned buying the dip. And I felt like I breezed past it. So let me just ping that again. So this is a phrase that we should know. Buying the dip refers to buying a stock, buying more of a stock when it goes low. So you know there's that little bar graph. Is it a bar graph? Well, let's just call it a bar graph. That graph that goes up. Preferably it's going up. But sometimes it dips. Even if it's a good stock, sometimes it dips. And so when it dips, many people sell when it dips, no matter what the stock is. Like I mentioned Netflix a while ago. Netflix started, when they first did their IPO, I think their stock was like, I don't know, $3. It was really low. And then it shot up to something like $40 and then dropped by 80%. And most people sold when it dropped by 80%. But then it went up to where it is now. It's like thousands of dollars. Is it maybe like $600 per share now? So it went up significantly later. So if you bought at 3 and you stayed and you rode that wave of it dropping 80%, then you made a significant amount of money. Also, if you bought in at 40, but then it dropped 80%, and you bought more at whatever the lower amount was, like $10, then your average cost for the stock comes down. Like you bought it at $40 per share, right? But it dropped down to, let's say, $2 per share, and you bought more at $2 per share. Now your average cost is somewhere in between those two numbers. So you've averaged down your cost. That's called buying the dip. You buy the dip when you believe. You buy the dip when you believe. So the people that did not believe in Netflix sold. They were like, oh, the stock is falling. I got to get out. The sky is falling. They got out, right? But if you believe based on your own due diligence, your own knowledge, your own anecdotal knowledge about this industry, then you stay. You buy the dip because you believe it's going to go back up. So I hope that makes more clear what I was saying yesterday. And I was speaking yesterday specifically about Meta and Netflix because both of them were down Friday. You know, the markets closed over the weekend, but I was looking at the markets over the weekend and saw that they were both down Friday. I believe strongly in Netflix. I believe strongly in Meta, that used to be Facebook. I mean, the metaverse hasn't even dropped yet. The reason that Facebook changed its name to Meta is so that they could go hard in the paint, pardon the sports metaphor, when the metaverse drops. The metaverse hasn't even dropped yet. Not really, like not in a way that everyone knows about it. It hasn't mainstreamed completely yet. And so for me, I feel very confidently that Meta is going to do well, especially once the metaverse becomes mainstream, once it finishes mainstreaming. So when I saw that Meta and Netflix were down, I was like, oh, I need to buy the dip. Now, buying the dip does not require a lot of money. And make that clear too. You do not have to buy a whole share. You can buy any fractional amount. I own Netflix and Meta on Cash App. So Cash App allows for fractional purchases. So when I buy the dip, I buy fractional purchases anyway. So I just, even as little as $1 will still bring your average cost down a little bit. Buying low at $1 will still average your cost down just a smidgen down. So that's what I did on both of those. And that's why I was talking about it at all. I checked the markets today. Netflix is already back up. So if you didn't buy the dip on Netflix, you missed it for now. But Meta, as of early this morning before the market opened, was still down. So after the show, I'm going to check. If it's still down, I'm going to buy the dip again. I'm going to buy another $1. And if you've got, more resources to play with, you could buy more if you believe that Meta is going to win. I've already told you what I think. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm telling you what I think and why. So do with that what you will. And that's a philosophy that you should keep in mind. If you believe, then when a stock goes down, it's on sale. It's not a reason to panic. It's a reason to buy. That's a very, very significant mind shift. Because when everyone else is panicking, you're like, okay, this is my time to move. So that's all about mindset. And that said, I do want to make a comment about the fact that it's working. And what I mean by that is we've been talking about finance for 52 episodes as of today, right? And it's working. Like all of us, I haven't talked to everybody personally, but I just know because of the way the reticular activating system works, that you are paying more attention to money in a different kind of way than you did before. I know it. It's happening for me, and it's happening for the people that I've been interacting with. So I was talking about, I hope I didn't tell this story already, but I was talking to my mom a couple of days ago about this stock. My mom was like, what's the share price? And I was like, see, look at that. Look at that. And then I was talking about stock with Reverend Melissa, and she was like, what's the dividend yield? So we are learning the lingo. We are knowing how to navigate this world. And that's important. So that it becomes less intimidating. And even if you're still on the porch and you haven't done anything yet, the fact that you're thinking about money and learning the language of money makes it less intimidating, makes it more likely that you'll do something. I hope you do something soon, because as we have firmly established now, investing is not optional. It is promoted out there in the world as something that's optional. It is not. If you want to secure what money you have to invest it. Otherwise, you're losing money every day. Every day. Inflation, rising cost of goods, you're losing money every day. You got to invest it. So get off the porch. All right, that said, I also wanted to ping Reverend Melissa because in the context of talking about money, because I told her the story of Beltman. And I told this story yesterday on the show. Just to recap, I met a gentleman at the Hoodies for the homeless event, and he saw that I was wearing a hero shirt. He made some very funny jokes about when was the last time I saw Batman. And then he said he needed to find Beltman because he needed a belt. Very funny guy. Later, he revealed himself as an artist. And I was telling her that I bought the art from him, but I let him keep it so he could sell it again. And she said, NFT. And I was like, you're right. That is an NFT. That is a great real world example of an NFT. Sorry, that's my alarm. I'm trying to get better about timing of the show. So that's a very real world, perfect example of NFT. Like it's art, for example, that you can sell repeatedly. And even better, like the more it's sold, the more you get a royalty off the art. So I now have this great idea, thanks to that conversation with Reverend Melissa, about another way that I could work with the unhoused. For folks like him that have talents, we might actually be able to digitize that drawing of Malcolm X as an NFT and actually sell it. And then he could actually get money straight to his cell phone. Like it cuts out all the middlemen, right? Like that's mind-boggling. That's mind-boggling. And that's what people are talking about out there in the world when they say that these new technologies have the ability to level the playing field. Like, that's a real world example. This man could go from drawing pictures in the library to an artist who is selling things internationally in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, and having the money appear on his phone without having to do anything, without having to go through any gatekeepers. People could just sell it, and the money shows up on his phone, and he can go spend it and buy his own belt. That's incredible. So I'm going to be looking into that and trying to figure out how to make that happen. Anyway, shout out to Rev Mel for that mind shift. And that's why it's so important that we keep talking about all these ways and means to manifest abundance around us. NFTs, cryptocurrency, metaverse, stock market, all these things. Like, keep them top of mind, keep talking about them, because you will see applications for them out there in the world that you're not even thinking about yet as you lean into the knowledge. Okay, I didn't think I had much to say about that, but I guess I was wrong. All right. So all of that said, I want to circle back to something Nan put in the notes a couple shows ago. She was talking about cold wallets versus hot wallets. Now, this is just for Nan. I hope you're watching, because I feel like we're talking above other people's heads at this point. So really quickly, yes, there are different types of wallets for your cryptocurrency. So, as I mentioned before, I just transferred my cryptocurrency on Cash App, my Bitcoin on Cash App, into what's called a hot wallet. A hot wallet is a wallet that exists on your phone, like on a device. Like, it is it's connected to the world, the internet, whatever. A cold wallet is a physical wallet, like a USB drive that you just put in the USB drive of your computer and download all the information, all the cryptocurrency to that wallet. And then once you take it out, you got to figure out where to hide it, where to put it. It's like, imagine having a gold bar in your hand. All right, so where am I going to hide this gold bar so that no one can get to it? And then that's where it stays. Now, just one more quick thought about that. Since I've transferred my Bitcoin from Cash App to a hot wallet, and the wallet I used was the Coinbase wallet, I've noticed that the price seems to continue fluctuating the way it did when it was still on Cash App, which implies, I'm not sure yet, but which implies that it's still connected. The price is still jumping around. So that means that I would need to be careful about when I move the money from the hot wallet to the cold wallet. I want to wait till it's all the way up and then move it to the cold wallet and preserve it at that price. If there are some of you who have watched that show I recommended, The Giant Beast That Is the Global Economy, and you watch the cryptocurrency episode, you'll see that there's a gentleman there who has $65 million on a cold storage wallet, but he can't get to it for reasons I won't go into because you got to watch the show, but he can't physically get to it. Can you imagine? Yeah. So be careful about where you store your cold storage wallet is my point. But I feel like probably that's a bit beyond where most of you are with cryptocurrency, but it's good to be aware of it. Once you get it, you can store it in a hot wallet, and ultimately the goal is to store it in a cold wallet and then hide that cold wallet somewhere where no one can find it. Okay, so stay tuned for prayer time coming up now at 10:15, and then stay tuned for Sit with Rev Melissa, where I might be popping in to say hello. Until then, keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero. Remember that now is better than perfect, and keep investing. Get off the porch. Let's go. Later.